This is a video on how I wrap my hair combs for my wedding veils. And the reason that I wrap my hair combs is that it makes it easier to sew the veil onto the comb. So you will start with a couple of things. You will start with a comb. I use these 3-inch metal hair combs. They have 20 teeth on them, and I found that they're very sturdy. And you also need some tulle. So to start off, I'm going to cut a strip of tulle that is a couple inches in width and maybe about 1 to 2 feet in length. I just use my rotary cutter to do this a little bit faster, and this doesn't have to be exact. So now I have my long, thin piece of tulle, and this tulle should match the color that the wedding veil is going to be eventually. So if it's an ivory veil, I'll use ivory tulle. If it's a white veil, I'll use white tulle. And I'll take it and I'll start on one end, and I'm going to work all the way around just by wrapping the tulle. The trickiest part is starting it. So I'll kind of sandwich the top of the comb in the tulle and twist it a little bit to start off with. Then I start wrapping. I want to make sure to cover all of the top in tulle because this also prevents having the comb show through when a bride is wearing it in her hair. You want it to blend seamlessly. Sometimes I'll go back over this little edge one more time. Then after I've got it started, then it becomes a little bit faster. And I'll just wrap it 1 to 2 times around each of these legs of the comb, or teeth of the comb, I guess is what they call them. Then as I get towards the end, I have to once again make sure to cover this little gold piece on the end in tulle so that it's not peeking through. So I'll cover it, kind of twist it. I'm just kind of twisting and pulling as I go. That's the key to this, keeping it really tight. Then I'll just kind of go over. Somewhere around in here is where I'll stop after I've gone a little bit past the end again. Now I have my scissors, and I'm going to cut this at a point at the very end. This is just going to make it easier to tuck in the tulle so that the tulle is not unraveling. And once again, this doesn't have to be exact here. So you can see that it's got a kind of a nice curved point at the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a large needle that I have, and it's got a pretty big eye. Can you see that it's got a big eye at the end, hopefully? That'll make it easier to thread. And I am going to take my needle and have it go underneath one of these tulle coverings right here. This needle just happens to be curved, but it wouldn't have to be a curved needle, but sometimes if it's a curved needle, it makes it a little bit easier. This is the trickiest part of the whole thing, but not too crazy. Alright, so do you see how I've looped the needle underneath the tulle? And now I'm going to thread the tip of my tulle through the eye of the needle. Pull it through. Okay. Now with some force, I'm going to pull the needle through. And sometimes it can be hard to get a really good handle on the needle because it just slipped out of my fingers. So I just use a pair of pink jewelry pliers to really get a good hold on this comb. And with some force, I'm just going to, well, pull it all the way through. There. So you see we have the tulle that's been tucked under the other piece of tulle. And we're going to cut off this edge of the tulle pretty close, but not too close. Leave maybe about 1/4 of an inch. And the reason I do that is just in case it gets undone a little bit or gets a little bit loose. I don't want it unraveling. And when I then sew the veil on, I'll just kind of tuck that in and sew that part down. So that's the finished product. Thank you for watching.